Welcome to you, my name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. Today I wanted to ask the question, are we becoming bagzillas? Now, bagzillas is a term that may have been made up, but it comes from bridezillas. If you don't know what a bridezilla is, then you've probably not been married, you've not been part of a bridal party, or you have just been lucky that all of your friends stay calm and collected when they get married. Bridezillas just turn into crazy, unreasonable people who want to know about every single detail, who micromanage to the nth degree, who are never ever happy unless everything is just perfect. And how this relates to being a bagzilla? Well, there is an undeniable trend through the luxury community, whether it be on Instagram or YouTube, about how picky we have become when it comes to our luxury goods. And I wanted to look into that and ask the question, have we become bagzillas? My phone's going off because I've posted something on Instagram about Gary, my pigeon bag. Just a minute, I'll go get him. Here he is, and people are laughing, so sorry about that buzzing. So anyway, are we bagzillas? Look, I've got to say that at times there are some very particular standards that we require of luxury brands. Now I want to talk about some particular examples so that you know where I'm coming from with either my own experience or people that I know or people that I have made, or people that have made videos, or people that I've asked if I can share their information with you. The first one, quite obviously for me, has been Fendi and sequins. And I have to say that if you haven't watched my pink sequin reveal video through Grinchmas, I also did a video about one of my Nano bags losing sequins and having cut sequins, so where the sequins down this border were cut in half. And since sharing that, a lot of people have actually found that they have had bags with cut sequins. Now, Fendi maintain that the handmade nature of these bags means that none of them look the same. But I'm wondering why somebody who's hand making a bag that wants to make it of the best quality chooses to select sequins that have been sliced in half and they don't have the same structural integrity because they're only half as big, so they move around and the finish on the bag is just not as good. Now, I think that it's not unreasonable of us to expect that if we have seen one bag where all sequins are the same size across the width of the bag, and then we see a bag that has all sequins the same width except for the ones on the very end, that would have us questioning A, whether or not that bag actually was handmade, and B, if it was handmade, where is the quality control? Where is the person who's looking at the final aesthetic finish of the finished product and going, you know what, that just doesn't look as good as this one over here, fix it, right? I'm going to say that that does not make us bagzillas. I think the concept of buying very delicate bags like this does mean that although we say you shouldn't have to put up with things falling off, that is sequins, I think that that's inherent in a piece like this. A delicate piece like this, people will wear it crossbody, it will brush against things. The reality is that, you know, things that are made like this are not meant to be worn in the way that we might wear a leather handbag. And so I think that we can be a little unreasonable in our expectation of things that have sequins and beads and the like when we don't wear them consistent with how they've been made, which is as a piece of art, not necessarily a bag that you can throw on, wear crossbody and go. So I do think it runs both ways there in relation to some of these more delicate pieces. Now, Chanel has been in the YouTube community highlights for quite a while with regard to the quality of their leather. In particular, the number of luxury YouTubers that had issues with their Chanel 22 bags. The bag that I affectionately call the rubbish bag, or the conference-free goodie bag. Super Jacob talked about his beautiful magenta Chanel 22 bag and how just wearing it for a very brief period of time, he noticed that the coloured finish on the bag was rubbing off, and he's made a whole video on that, which I'll link in the description box below. Now, yes, it's a metallic finish. Yes, the bag has been made in a way as such that the leather is going to crinkle, and whatever finish is painted onto that leather is going to rub over time and potentially expose whatever is underneath, whether it's leather or not remains to be confirmed, or the quality of leather, that is, anyway. And there's been quite a few videos made about that. Talk to Jacob, talk to Classics with a Quirk, have a look at those in the description box below. I will link those videos as well. But is that reasonable? The design of that bag is flawed for the type of leather or finish that they have chosen. Is that a reasonable expectation? I think that's been made to be a practical luxury handbag. I think that if you are going to apply a metallic finish, then you should make sure that that is robust enough to work with the design elements of the bag, the drawstring element of the bag. Romina Rose May has a metallic finish in like a beautiful purple colour. I'll link her video below. She too has had issues with her bag. Is that being Bagzilla? I don't think so. I think that's totally reasonable. However, knowing those issues now, and you still buy a Chanel 22 bag in one of those finishes, I guess that's kind of on you. You're making an informed decision if you've been lucky enough to see some of these videos and people sharing their experience. If you haven't, take your chances with Chanel. They're not typically very helpful when it comes to after-sale service of their non-classic pieces. Let's talk about Louis Vuitton and their glazing, or the alignment of their canvas prints. Now, Louis Vuitton are not getting as much heat at the moment about their quality, which is interesting because everybody's moved on, and that tends to be what happens in this community. I've got my little vanity bag here, the Nice BB that I purchased pre-loved. Now, when I looked at it, I looked for marks and I looked for damage. I have to say, I did not first look at was everything appropriately lined up to the extent that I would call it a perfect piece. Now, I probably should have done, but I know many people who will go into the boutique or will buy online and see that a piece of the monogram is slightly crooked or is slightly misaligned with another joining piece and just absolutely reject the piece. Now, I think each to your own. If you're prepared to do that kind of work and analysis, and you want an absolutely beautiful piece to the extent that you might never find that most perfect piece, then that is your decision and your prerogative, and I think you're well within your right to be able to do that. I think when you are frowned upon and treated as a pain in the backside by sales staff because you are checking the item that they should have checked before they bought it to you, is not okay. Yes, they don't make them. Yes, they're just trying to make a living and by selling luxury goods. But if you've made it pretty clear that you want perfection, then make sure it's perfect before you send it to me or before you bring it to me. Now, that lends me on, just before I sat down to film this video, I was sent a picture of somebody who, like me, had purchased the spectacular blush pink Fendi First. Now, when it was sent to her, she did not see it in person. She noticed a tiny little dint in the leather here, and I'll attach the photo that she sent to me and has approved for me to show you guys. Now, if I had have received my $8,000 something mink Fendi First and it had a mark right on the leather bit where you can see it, I have to say, I would have not been happy. The fact that I didn't get to see it and that it was sent to me in that condition is not okay. Now, is that being Bagzilla? I don't think so. I think that we should get perfect pieces, especially if you're working with a sales associate who is, I guess, QAing on your behalf, okay? It's not free to DHL goods to you and then send it back and then send you a replacement because you haven't bothered to check the piece out properly. It's not cheap. That's an expensive process to go through. So just make sure that it's right in the first place. Or are you hoping that they won't notice or care about the imperfection? In any case, I think the challenge with purchasing remotely, which I know so many people do because they don't live next to boutiques, is that instead of feeling excited when your parcel arrives, you feel anxious and worried that it's now on you to do the quality assurance checking to make sure that what you have is in perfect condition. Because if you don't pick it up, guess whose fault it's going to be? And that's not nice. It should be a joyful, exciting experience, not one filled with anxiety and is it going to be okay? I was talking with a friend just yesterday who had purchased a bag from Louis Vuitton and noticed something happening on the hardware. And instead of playing with it and investigating it further herself, she was so worried that it was a defect that she took it straight back to Louis Vuitton to check it out. It turned out that it was just plastic peeling off the hardware, but why was that plastic on there in the first place? Why wasn't it removed when it was prepared for sale? And why is her first thought, oh my God, something's wrong with my bag, not, oh, this is just plastic? Because we can't trust anymore. We can't trust that the quality that we're getting, the finish, the condition of the items that are sold to us are perfect or good anymore. We can't trust in that anymore. I've seen people who've bought the same Dior basket bag as I have up there with threads missing. The biggest part of that bag, yes, the wicker, but also the big band around it that has been loomed and embroidered, threads pulled when it's been come straight from the boutique. Why is that being sold to somebody? I feel like there needs to be almost a recalibration of what luxury is, and it's probably for another video, but the luxury store experience. I watched a vlog with Super Jacob who was revealing a piece from Hermes that he recently bought. I'll link it below. But he was talking about how it was such a hassle for this Hermes sales associate to look up if stock was in store and to go and find things that had been requested, when normally you would expect once you're inside of the store and you have selected some pieces that it would go without saying that people would be looking to help you locate, try things on and potentially buy items. I don't know what's happened in luxury that it's fallen away like this, but it really is sad. And I think for those of us who are still buying luxury pieces, we want to make sure that what we're getting is perfect. We'll put our own marks on it. We don't want to buy it secondhand, grubby, marked from the store. And if you're packing it up and selling it or sending it on to us, then it's your job to make sure it's perfect so that I get a luxury experience at the other end. What do you think? Do you think that we've become bagzillas, that we've become so picky that it's impossible to please us? Or do you think that we have a right to be concerned based on our own experiences and what we're seeing elsewhere about not just the quality of the pieces that we're getting, the condition of the pieces that are being wrapped up or sent to us, and then the after sales service when things do go wrong? Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Thanks to the people who have shared their stories with me personally on Instagram and in the comment sections in previous videos I've done. I think this really helps to give people a grounding and a sense of what to expect and to not feel like they're, you know, setting themselves up for failure, to really be alert for these sorts of things, because in my opinion, it's not okay. We're not bagzillas. All we want is what we're paying for. So thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe if you'd like to come back for more. I put out videos on Wednesdays and Sundays, sometimes some extras, so make sure you come back. I'd love to see your face again. Until then, ciao for now.